Hello and welcome to Back to the Boardroom. I'm James.
And I'm Greer.
And this week is all potato tomato. From the little clip on the previous episode, I did think both teams would get potatoes and tomatoes. So I was a bit shocked when you had to choose one.
I thought it was quite fun that they did a coin toss for it, though. I thought Lord Sugar's banter in this episode was much better than the Stratford-upon-Avon Shakespeare jokes that didn't make any sense last week.
Yeah, there was a lot less awful jokes, thank goodness. Maybe he wasn't feeling well.
Yeah, got some better writers, something like that.
But a question for you, what would you have chose, potatoes or tomatoes?
Good question. I personally prefer eating tomatoes over potatoes. But I do think potatoes, you probably could have done some good fast food type things. You could have done a standard jacket potato with lots of different toppings to upsell, or chips like dirty fries or something. What about you?
Or skins.
Yes.
I like tomatoes. So I would have probably chosen those, even though I think you're right, potatoes are a bit more versatile, I think, but I guess because you could use other ingredients, I did think about bruschetta before 𝗕𝗰𝗸𝗀𝗲 mentioned it, because always a good fan of that, and also tomato, mozzarella and basil salad. I mean, probably not for a market stall, but I just could have come tomatoes.
Could have come up with something. I think both of them were sort of bog standard ingredients that you could have really been creative with. Some people were more creative than others, including in the bit that I need to bring up now. We finally, in so many episodes in, got the team names. They had to come up with them.
Yes,
why do you think they left it so late this time?
They're really shaking it up. They're like, someone in the production team has gone, everything must change.
Yes, only by a little bit, but everything must be different.
Exactly. So, not too amazed with the parallel. Was all right.
Parallel was kind of fine. Yeah.
I would have preferred tidal to, what was it?
Ascendancy. Now, I'm going to quickly type that in because I was convinced that might not even be a word. It sounded that weird. In what situation would you use that? But I love Team Tidal, but I do love the reasoning of, we do not want to regress about waves. Ridiculous. The weirdest quotes we find on this show.
Yeah, indeed.
The other thing I was really excited about this week, excited but in kind of a dark way, maybe, is that Nadia was the project manager, which I was really excited about because I just knew it was going to be bad.
Yes.
Sorry, Nadia.
We have a lot to talk about on that topic coming up, I think.
So much. This might be like a bumper episode this week with the amount of madness that was going on.
So, bringing it back to the task, what the candidates actually had to do this week was either with their potatoes or tomatoes, come up with a dish to sell to the public, complete an order for a client that's been put on for them, and also sell remaining raw stock, I guess, to the trade. And so three different parts to get right. Although I do believe the public sales was probably the most important. I think the client was a bit of a red herring.
I think so. It was quite an interesting dynamic, I guess, to do something a bit different, selling directly to the client, because they had to fulfill different orders. But I agree. I think the entertainment value for us with the customers is always great. But you could probably do a bigger sort of margin on your prices with the customers. So I think, that's always going to be a fun thing to watch. And then we get to see some strange selling tactics, which is always good.
Of course, yes. There are so much to dive into, or digest, as the narrator said.
Yes. Shall we go through some of our top moments then, because there are a lot this week?
Yes, we should go through our top moments. I'm going to let you go first.
Oh, there are just so many. I think even as the episode started, even in that sort of preliminary bit of montage of them getting ready, I don't know who asked, but they said, "Do you have markets in Leeds?" Which I really liked.
The start was, it was already a recipe of disaster, I think. And that's why one of my top moments was team formation. As soon as Nadia got chosen, there was no arguing. So what was it? Firstly, the product. No one wanted sausage and mash. Sausage and mash it was. And then, who was it? Was it Dr. Jana who asked to be sub-team lead? People agreed. And no, not good enough for Nadia. Kia was chosen. So yeah, that was a bit interesting. I get that you have to assert, what you want as project manager, but yeah, it was a bit much.
It was. It kind of proved sort of going forward. I guess maybe the first thing with the loaded skins versus the sausage and mash, you could forgive her for sort of being like, no, this is my team, I've decided, this is my idea, let's go for it. But as the episode went on and just every single decision was by the rest of the committee in the team, they all had a different idea and really strong reasoning for it, including the pricing. She immediately was like, no, I've decided, I'm going to go with this, and just steamrolled absolutely everything. So it wasn't even a case of okay, I've got an idea, you've said something else, and now I'm going to think about it. Oh, that's logical, I'll change my mind. It was just sort of no, regardless of what it is, I need to be the one that is correct, and I'm the project manager, so what I say goes. There wasn't even any thinking or any sort of understanding where other people was coming from, which is disappointing and not great leadership, but great telly.
Great telly indeed.
One of my favourite things is when they were stood there tasting the different types of mashed potato this week, and they tried, I guess, a controversial addition of horseradish in the mashed potato because it's quite a overpowering taste. It's quite strong, and so they thought, no, we won't do that because it sort of lowers the customer base, people might not like it. And then they tried garlic, and someone said, who doesn't like garlic? And almost as if it was on cue, Nadia pulls a face and is like, oh no, I really don't like the taste of this. But who doesn't like garlic? They all joked, haha, vampires. And immediately she was like, oh, actually, no, I don't like it. So I've written down, who doesn't like garlic? Vampires and Nadia.
Nice. A lot of the moments are going to be from Nadia's team, I think. The next one is the classic, happens every time, I feel. In at least once in the series, someone gets the numbers wrong.
Yes.
And this time, Baroness Brady goes, have you done this right? Who did this? And it was the sausages this time. So I think they either got the price wrong or they ordered too many, or a combination of both.
Both, definitely. Alarm bells are ringing for me when they calculated that the cost price of their sausage and mash dish was going to be £6.35 per meal, which was ridiculous. How much are you going to sell it for? How much can you make off that? The other team, their cost price, 88 pence per pizza. Excellent. That is sane business acumen there on The Apprentice for once. But £6.35, absolutely not.
I think it was Mia. I think top moment of the episode, as in for good stuff, is the meatball, one meatball per pizza. Because, clever, worked well. People wouldn't complain because the way it's distributed, it doesn't look like you're not getting a lot. So, nice work.
I thought she was really good as a project manager. She tried to keep the peace in the kitchen when people were arguing, and it was actually related to her business proposition that she has for Lord Sugar. It's all around meal prep and food, so she must have a lot of experience of trying to prepare delicious meals, but in a very cost-effective way. So that's a positive for me. I know it's very unlike me to give a positive top moment, but I thought she did a good job.
Yeah, nice. Moving on, Tim. one of my, I don't know why it's a top moment, but he wasn't in a shirt. He was in a T-shirt. And I don't know why this makes one of my top moments, but it's not common. So, yeah, interesting.
That's nothing. I didn't pick that up. So I'm, again, bowing down to your detail-oriented watch of The Apprentice. Something that I think is becoming quite a regular feature, and we talk about it every week, is Johnny's just overly friendly ways to try and schmooze the clients. And this week he came out with another banger, yes, a pun, saying to the 𝗕𝗰 client, "I love your risotto. No one does it like you," as if it was like just an Italian grandmother or something has come up with the recipe and made the risotto. It's a chain restaurant, Johnny. There's loads of people that do risotto better than them.
Exactly, and Frederick claiming that because he's from Milan, and 𝗕𝗰 reminded him of home. And maybe it does, but again, it's a chain. Like
it did make me laugh, because I'm sure there were things when he did move from Italy that he connected with, and it did remind him of being back there. But it was really funny because of just the absurdity, and just 𝗕𝗰 is, I mean, it's fine, the food is fine, but it is on every high street, and it was just sort of framed as this like really heartwarming, 𝗕𝗰 really helped me. It was just hilarious. Sorry,
that's
Frederick.
like me moving to Japan or something and having a McDonald's and, oh yes, home.
Yeah, exactly. Very strange. But who knows? They tried to flatter the client. That was probably where the good relationship with 𝗕𝗰 ended, really, because another one of my top moments was watching Jordan, was it? Try and dice up some tomatoes in 1 centimetre chunks by having on his worktop a piece of paper that was signalling the 1 centimetre chunks, and he was cutting it really like one by one. I don't know why it wasn't just several things and diced, but one by one.
So me being detailed oriented, there's an issue with Jordan's method.
Okay.
So that piece of paper obviously will confirm the 1 by 1 width and depth, but it wasn't the height. I don't think it was 1 centimetre high.
Yes.
They wanted 1 centimetre cubed.
That is quite hard to get on a tomato. Yeah. They're very pedantic at 𝗕𝗰 about what goes on their bruschetta.
Exactly. I feel like they need a dicer tool that does a 1 centimetre mode.
Exactly. And you know what? That is, when I go for my nightly TikTok scroll, that is one of the lame products that comes up all the time. People using those like things you can smack and it cuts your vegetables into perfect chunks. So maybe Jordan needs to go on the TikTok shop.
There we go. Yes, absolutely.
Another thing I have to say is when they were selling the pizza team, a customer said, "Are they vegan?" And they were like, "Oh no, they're not. Maybe your dog might want some." Which, okay, it sort of positions your product in a different manner.
Yes, odd.
Very, very odd.
Very enthusiastic pizza sales from 𝗕𝗁𝗂𝗯𝗃 as well.
Definitely. There was some interesting selling tactics the whole way around. We had somebody dressed as a potato. Someone was speaking a different language. Nadia decided to create her own discount strategy, but not tell anyone else. Sell things for £10 instead of what everyone else was selling for 13. I don't know if she just wanted to get a guaranteed sale. Maybe she was nervous that she couldn't personally sell any, so went for 10. But yeah, it really rubbed the other team members up the wrong way.
Absolutely. My final one, if I had to pick one more, is the classic kitchen disaster of burnt cabbage.
Yeah, burnt cabbage, but also burning the container, the metal container the cabbage was in.
Yeah, I assume they would have been induction hobs or something. I don't know.
Who knows? I'm glad there was the ability to burn things in the kitchen because it was very funny.
I think it was staged. Like, it's quite hard to... They would have had to have... The tray would have had to have turned the hob on, which, if it did, it's a very stupid hob. Not very well designed.
Did they? I guess they... Well, I'm just thinking about it. I guess they left it on, or maybe when they turned it off, it was still really hot from cooking something. I don't know. But were they even cooking things there at that point?
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
Yeah. Picking holes.
Exactly. It's that time of the show again where I get very nervous because James has come up with an idea for our elevator pitches this week. It is the time where we get about 30 seconds on the clock and each of us have to pitch to you, our listeners, a product, an idea, something related to the episode, and you have to tell us who did the winning pitch. Now, James, please stop me from worrying. What have you come up with this week?
So, keeping in theme with this week, it is a food-based pitch. And unlike the actual challenge, you will have a choice between X or Y.
Ooh.
So you will get 2 ingredients. You have to choose one, not the other. It can't have both. And pitch something to make and sell to the public. So, you know, the pizza or bangers and mash part of the challenge. So,
okay.
The independent adjudicator has been at work.
Yes.
And I have changed things to avoid any potential bias. So they are not named. They are just 2 pieces of paper of which you will choose one.
I really like how you have removed all bias there.
All fairness. Gotta be fair. Right, so as you kindly made me go first last week, it's your turn to start.
Okay.
So I've got 30 seconds on the clock.
Do you think you should label one heads and one tails and then we do a coin flip like the episode?
You can just choose.
Oh, okay. I was trying to be more fun and putting it off. Okay, I am going to go for the one that is positioned behind the other one nearest to you. The one at the back.
This one.
That one there. Yes.
Okay. Wait.
That one.
This one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So remember. So I'm going to reveal this. I'm going to give you X or Y, and you can choose either one, but you can't use the other ingredient at all.
Oh, at all. So there's 2 written on the bit of paper, and I pick one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
I'm scared.
We are revealing now.
Okay.
Oh no. Well, you should get more points for going for the harder one, I think. So you have got peas or beetroot.
Oh my gosh. They're both really difficult.
So
I guess I'll...
You have to choose now.
I guess peas?
And your 30 seconds starts now.
Okay, this is really difficult, but the only thing I can think of with peas, because not many people like them, is perhaps doing some sort of chips and a mushy pea dip, which you can put, I don't know, some mint in or some lemon in, some salt and pepper to make it taste a bit more interesting and zingy instead of just peas, and then also have some chunky chips like you'd get from the chip shop, and people can dip them in. I guess you could also upsell different sauces, so it would be quite cheap to have the potatoes and the peas.
Time.
Okay.
That was not too bad.
Hard.
That was not too bad. I thought that was a good idea.
But lots of people don't like mushy peas, but I think they possibly like peas over beetroot. Beetroot was a tough one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have done like a beetroot and goat's cheese salad or something.
That's fancy. That's nice, but I was thinking mass appeal out of a food van or a stall.
So, have you got a timer ready for me?
No, because my blood pressure needs to go down after my elevator pitch. Right, I have the timer ready of 30 seconds.
You are going to be the first one to see it. You can announce it to me, and then I choose and then start.
Okay.
Have you got both of them?
Yeah, I have. Well, James, you can either choose turnip or broccoli. Make your choice. Okay, he's ready. 30 seconds on the clock, starting now.
Okay, I'm choosing broccoli. I'm going to go a bit more upmarket, so tender stem instead of the normal one, so a bit more pricier on the costing side, but we're going to mix that with some garlic, some like soy sauce, and we're going to like fry it, something like that. I don't know if there's anything else. Maybe you could put some meat or fish with it, but yeah, garlic, soy, fried broccoli.
Nice. That does sound good. the time. You do things very succinctly. Can't say that word.
I just have a lack of
Succinctly.
ideas.
Well, no, it's good. You always finish very quickly on the elevator pitch, but that's because you've got a key idea there. That's interesting. So would they be fried or like crisped?
Fried.
Deep fried?
Not deep fried, I don't think.
Wok fried.
Wok fried. Soy and garlic glazed fried broccoli.
The taste is good. You're going to need to provide some sort of fork though with yours.
Yes.
Let me just say, if you're thinking about pricing, because arguably the chip in mine is the fork.
That is true. But what about residual mush?
Yeah, that's true. Residual
You'll need
mush.
a spoon.
Yeah.
And a spoon has more surface area, so it should be more expensive.
Exactly. So what do you fancy more? Broccoli, garlic, soy sauce, or a mushy pea chip dip? Let us know on our Instagram at Back to the Boardroom and tell us who you think has won this week's elevator pitch. And at the end of the series, we will total up all of our scores and the winner will be crowned. Now let's go back to the boardroom and find out whether potatoes or tomatoes won this week. Now I have to admit something. I usually try my best and write down the figures, but I missed them this week. So James, I'm holding out hope that you have the numbers for us.
I do. Hopefully correct. Do you want them now?
Sure. Let's find out how everyone did.
Okay, so client-wise, obviously we knew potatoes won. 234 for Nadia's team and only 76 for the measly 20 kilos of diced tomato. However, obviously Nadia's team spent way more, £635.90 compared to £183.10, but they also took more, but not enough to actually make a profit. So it ended up with 167.83 profit for tomatoes, with 73.40 loss for potatoes.
I was getting a bit concerned when they got to the final figures of Nadia's team. I was like, please, no, they can't have won. They did do a little bit of trickery there, I guess, to keep us on the edge of our seats. But yeah, unsurprisingly, with that pricing strategy, £6.35 per meal, yeah, they had to lose. Come on. And the other team was helmed by Mia, who is a meal prep entrepreneur anyway. She did seem very emotional that she had won. I think she was really panicking, and I guess because it's kind of linked to her business anyway, it really wouldn't have been a good look if she'd lost. So I think it meant a lot to her. Yeah,
definitely. You don't see that often, but you know, it's not a bad thing.
Something that I quite liked actually is I don't know. It could have played out differently. Like someone crying in the boardroom. I think maybe a few years ago, 𝗕Sugar might have been a bit like, you know, suck it up or something. But actually, it was handled quite nicely because the rest of the team supported her, and she said, "Oh yeah, it's happy tears. You know, I was just worried." And he said, "You know, I'll come and help you unpack your bags and stuff too," which was quite nice, I thought.
Yeah, definitely. I think hopefully shows a shift in the way that we view, I guess, mental health in general.
Definitely.
Which is always positive. Yeah.
Good. I thought as well, something that was funny is that Johnny started giving a bit of a spiel to 𝗕Sugar, saying, I know about dicing tomatoes, but I didn't know a lot about de-seeding them or something. And 𝗕Sugar was like, what are you talking about? Just absolutely was like, for God's sake, Johnny, which I did enjoy because it was a bit weird.
Yeah, bit odd. But yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest embarrassment for the winning team was the client. The promising 120 kilos and delivering 20. Now, saying that, even though it was an embarrassment, I think it was really good decision making to just sack it off. They knew that the profit, the margins were going to be a bit rubbish, and they made a decision, and it was right.
Yeah, it's very awkward though when you have to turn up to the client and they said something like, "Is this just a test batch that we're going to have a taste from?" I like to think that they planned what they were going to say, the client, because they seem to, I guess, give off that they knew that the team weren't going to be able to fulfill that quantity or that specification. So I guess it was a little bit of an unfair thing to offer them to do, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, tell me if I'm talking about this too early.
No, that's fine.
And then something that I don't think has ever happened before, when the final three were brought back, there was no dialogue. It was clear cut. And to be honest, I think it was probably correct to be clear cut, because I don't think the choice of people that Nadia brought back was great. And yeah, I don't think there was any other obvious choice.
I did wonder if 𝗕𝗓𝗂𝗯𝗲 was going to call to the secretary and say, "Can you just send Nadia in instead of the other two?"
Yeah, I did think that might be a possibility.
Yeah, I think it was, as you say, clear cut that she was going to go. I think it was really embarrassing to have a task where you are selling like basic ingredients, which you can really get a high margin for selling it as a meal, a pizza, whatever it's going to be, and coming back with a loss on potato. It's just mad.
Yeah, not great. And yeah, the writing was on the wall.
It was, and standard when she got into the taxi, she did do the whole 𝗕𝗓𝗂𝗯𝗲 has really missed out on a great opportunity here. And I think most of the country and the viewers watching probably thought, yeah, right.
Yeah, I think as 𝗕𝗓𝗂𝗯𝗲 said, one of the easier boardroom decisions. Unfortunately, it all went wrong for Nadia, and she was to blame.
Yeah, it did go pretty wrong. Something else that came out of the boardroom this week, though, is that we've already got one of the project managers for next week, as Dr. 𝗕𝗯𝗓 was... I was surprised about this, said that he didn't do too much, and he needed to show what he could do in the role of project manager. But I was surprised that decision was made. I hadn't picked him out as someone that I didn't think was pulling his weight.
No, I thought at least in one of the tasks, I thought he was really good with the negotiating. So, yeah, not sure where that came from, but there we go. PM for parallel.
Yes. That's a good name, I think.
Yeah, definitely the better of the two. And then sliding on to the secretary segment, there has been a change.
What?
They aren't going to use the same graph for the entire series. The secretary has moved on to crunching some numbers in a very plain spreadsheet. There's not much formatting on there. It was all the same. There was no formatting at all. So, and I didn't stop or try and have a peek at the numbers. So that's all I've got for you.
Well, maybe next week she'll get round to putting some colours or drop-down menus or something on there that makes it stand out and is a bit clearer exactly what she's doing.
I want to see a pivot table.
It's very niche, but that would be good. See something a little bit different from a bar chart and a pie chart and just some standard figures.
Yeah.
Let's hold out hope for next week. We also have to talk about the treat, obviously, because every week James has some really strong opinions on the level of fun, I guess, that they get from these treats. We've been ranking them the whole series so far. This week it was a sort of vegetable pact, which is the phrase that they used, cooking demonstration by Gennaro, who I have actually heard of before because he does a lot of work with Jamie Oliver and he does some good YouTube tutorials. So I thought, oh, you know what? I'd actually like to go on that one. Much better than karaoke in previous weeks.
Yep, or blowing up the Houses of Parliament.
Yes.
Yes, so, yeah. Again, you might be disappointed because I think that ranks top from all of the ones we've had so far. Yeah, it was all right. The portions did seem a bit small, but if I were to, I don't know, maybe I'm just picking fault, but it'd be quite cool to try several dishes rather than just one. But not could have been worse.
Could have been a lot worse. Maybe they only get a short time on the treat. Maybe they like filming the whole episode, and when the production team are there for the treat, they're like, oh, hurry up, and the whole team want to just enjoy something for once, but the production team are done and tired.
At least it's not Lily's Cafe. And now for my favourite bit of the show, the Apprentice news. Do we have house information, Greer?
I can find you some house information if you would like, but
It's fine.
Okay, we've had enough. I have a few bits of news this week. The first one is Nadia, who has just left The Apprentice this week. She has done an interview with The Sun. This is the only time of the year or ever that I go on the Sun website because they seem to have lots of interviews with previous contestants. But she has spoken a bit about how she got started in business and her entrepreneurial journey. And I just thought there were some interesting details because I know we see the entrepreneurs on the show and they come across as funny characters, but actually it really does show that she's been putting some hard work in and has gone through a few difficult situations that actually has helped her get to where she is today and be a successful entrepreneur. So it caught my eye, this article, because of the headline. And I read that when she first started out, her first home in London was actually a rat-infested bungalow, which she shared with 30 people. And she once spent a year living out of a camper van so she could save £30,000 towards launching her first hair and beauty salon. Which... That is a lot of dedication. If you've got a dream, you've got a business idea that you want to work, then she really has put in some effort to get there.
Absolutely. So, you can't fault that.
Exactly. So I think it's clear that while she may have come across as a bit of comic relief on the show, she's obviously very hardworking at the same time.
Yeah. And definitely very motivated, like driven.
Exactly.
Maybe it shows a bit too much in... She wants it her way, but, still very driven.
That is true. Something about not a contestant this time, but Baroness Brady. We found out that she was recently offered a place on Celebrity Traitors, but has turned it down, which is quite depressing. There was two very clear reasons. I think she's taken a leaf out of Lord Sugar's book for how sort of direct she is. When asked why she wouldn't be appearing and turned it down, she said, 1, I've never seen it. 2, I don't have the time. That's very Lord Sugar.
Yeah, fair enough.
She went on to say, because I think there was some speculation, I guess, because she is a baroness, she is quite a well-known and successful business owner herself, and she I think is chairperson of West Ham Football Club, and so I think some people thought, okay, maybe she's not that sort of celebrity type to do Celebrity Traitors, but how come she does The Apprentice? She's on TV, and she also said in the article, the truth is I don't do The Apprentice because I want to be on TV. I do it because I really like Alan, and Alan is her friend, which I thought was quite a cute thing to say. She said, he's been in my life for 20 years. We met in football and we've stayed close friend. He's somebody I would go to if I had a problem, so he really is a true friend. That's quite sweet. And then I've got some gossip, which I know you want to hear. Yeah, so I don't know if you remember, but back in 2015, there was an apprentice candidate called 𝗕𝗰𝗸𝗀𝗍𝗓. I think I might be saying his name wrong, or I don't know, but he won that year and it seems to be doing very well, but he has spilled the beans on some of the show's biggest secrets. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, okay.
There are some things obviously about the house, but what I wanted to talk about is that in some of the tasks, it says here that they have a 10-page rule book, which sometimes deliberately makes it tough to complete the tasks. So, for example, if you were creating a brand and you wanted to make a logo and packaging in green and yellow, for example, they'd only allow you to choose from the colours black and brown, which seem to be at odds with, like, the brief. He said it's very hard work. They're usually out about 16 hours a day in the field, and it's up to 4 days per project. So it's quite a long time. But then you think about it, if they are doing a project over 4 days, you'd kind of hope that there was less mistakes. But who knows? We don't know what this strange rule book is about. Previously, we've spoken about how little influence they have from the outside world and how much they are allowed to talk to each other or whatever, which puts them into a bit of a strange state. He says that you can't talk to each other during the day, really, either. When travelling in the car, you must stay silent, and a producer is in every car and polices it.
It's very odd.
It's very odd. I can see this being true, though. It might be exaggerated a little bit, but I can see the production team wanting to make sure that they have all the key shots and the key moments, and anything else it might make the story that they're telling a bit out of whack if they were discussing things. But he said when you do see footage of them talking in the car, it's been allowed only for filming, and you're told to stop straight afterwards.
Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. What I'm curious about, so you said if they want to make a logo in green and yellow, they get given brown and black. Mm-hmm. How does that work? So there's...
I think but previously he was discussing if you were creating a wellness brand, was his example, you might want to use calming colours like green or yellow, for example, because it would, I guess, link to creating a better product. But they throw you off by picking colours that are really, I guess, at odds with what you are wanting to do. So I guess the logos and the designs end up looking worse than they could because there are these rules. But part of me doesn't believe it, or I don't want to believe it, that there's that much meddling within the things that they create. But perhaps there is.
Garbage in, garbage out.
I know. And just because we're called back to the boardroom, I thought I'd give you a few bits of information about what he said about the boardroom. Again, it's all about the production. So he says that you sit in silence in the reception area and you're stewing for about 4 hours out there while the production is getting ready and everything's set up. He put the heat is turned up by another 5 hours in the pre-boardroom area, and by then you're stressed out whether you're going to make it or not. You must ask permission to use the toilet and only go one at a time, so there's no talking. It's like being back in school. The projects are structured to ensure that there's a full guy for the boardroom sequence. While the project manager selects who does what, people are going to find themselves operating way outside of their comfort zone in the task. I don't really know what that bit is about.
So
sorry.
They have to sit for 4 hours in silence outside the boardroom.
That is what it says. That is torture. That is what it says. And I believe it to an extent that the production team will take forever to get these shots and things done, and they will have to wait. And I do think there is definitely something about the continuity must be a real pain if someone is then later referencing a conversation that wasn't filmed or something. You need to have everything, but sure. I don't think I could sit for 4 hours being absolutely bored, which isn't great. There is, I know we're talking a lot about the news, but he does actually say a bit about, because he won, what it's like working with lohd afterwards, and he doesn't really have some nice things to say. Mainly is that because he's got the opportunity, he wants to work very closely with lohd, but he didn't really get that much time. It said when he sent him an email, he replied with, "I only read bullet points, send me anything that long again, and it's going straight in the bin."
Wow.
Which, okay, he's a busy man. I get it. Yeah. Maybe now with ChatGPT and things, he could summarize his emails. But lohd obviously doesn't want to read an essay.
There we go. Good knowledge for the future.
Yes, if we ever email him.
Send him bullet points.
Exactly. So a lot of news this week. I thought it was some fun bits and a bit more gossip, but obviously take it all with a pinch of salt because we know what these tabloids are like. Absolutely.
So moving on to have a look at where last year's candidates are now. I've got a surprise for you. Well, we're not looking at one, we're looking at two, because last year's episode 4 was Jersey discount buying. And we had a double firing.
Yes.
If you remember, the losing team, the whole team was brought back into the boardroom. There wasn't an option for final three. It was everyone from that team. And project manager Jack Davies got fired. And also your pick for the winner, 𝗕𝗰𝗸𝗀𝗃.
Yes.
So,
how embarrassing.
Yeah, so let's have a very, very quick look at where they are now. So I picked out one thing from Jack Davies. So he got married in July last year. A couple of pictures on his Instagram, and they look very, very nice. Can't see any Apprentice candidates though in the picture. So yeah.
𝗕𝗰𝗸𝗀𝗃 didn't officiate the ceremony then.
I don't think so. But there we go. Yeah, congratulations to him. And also, other happy news, Amina, actually 4 days ago, I think, or maybe it's a summary, has got a baby boy.
Oh, there's some good news stories.
Yeah, so where are they now? Some nice positive notes to I guess wrap the show up with.
So there we go, pizzas versus very expensive bangers and mash. We have gone back to the boardroom and pretty much sorted the episode, I feel like. It's been a good one this week, and excitingly, the food theme continues, because next week we're diving into all things chocolate, and they're going to be creating a brand new themed Easter egg, which I'm very much looking forward to. As always, if you've enjoyed the episode, please rate us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and follow us on Instagram at Back to the Boardroom so you can see some extras on there. James, do you have a final thought for us this week?
I guess this week, how long do you think it would actually take for one person to cube or dice 150 kilograms of tomatoes?
I think we'd be here at least until next week's episode.
Yeah, not for me. See you then.